All right. So yeah, Bruno, it's very nice to meet you. We're very excited to be assigned to your team. We read through the general guidelines essentially on the project that we'll be assigned to, and I think we have a short list of questions. But before we get to those questions, do you want to maybe give us more of a general rundown on exactly what the robot is, some of the details, so we kind of get a bigger picture of what's going on?
Sounds good. Before we do that, can you maybe share a little bit about what this project is about, how much time you have for it? Because I know there was some information, but I wasn't in the initial meetings. So if you guys can share that, that would be good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So think of us as like your interns essentially for the next 12 weeks. Or I
okay.
guess make it 10 now. And so we were told that the general project would be to create a kind of like a GUI essentially, and monitor and estimate some battery percentages and levels, and just information about that. But aside from that, we really didn't get too many specifications on the project and whatnot. So that's where you come in.
Very well. So you guys are yes, software engineering students, or something like that.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we do have a timeline. So I'll share my screen so you could take a look of the general timeline that it was given to us.
Sounds good.
So pretty much this is how they given us, like as timeline wise. Our semester ends like mid-December, so that's when this project should be completed by.
Okay. Sounds good. And we have two teams working on this project. Is that correct? I think Nathan's part of a second team. Is that?
Yeah, there's two different teams, and yeah.
Yes, me and Nathan are both part of the other team. Our two other team members couldn't make it here due to other obligations, but yeah, we're.
That's fine. I was just trying to understand. Cool. Very well. So, are you somewhat familiar with Omron?
I think I saw one of your products once when my grandfather was still here. I think he had a blood pressure monitor. I think it was made by Omron, but I'm not completely sure.
That's possible. So, here in California, we have a robotics division. Let me close this. Sure.
Yeah, I seen one of the robots where I don't know what it does exactly, but I just know it helps automate the warehouse, like moving stuff, and that's everything that I can remember.
Okay, yeah. So we have 3 robots in the market right now. Yeah, as you said, that's what they do. They run around warehouses. This is a very large robot that's generally used to move pallets around. So that sort of application, this is like it 1/2 payload. These are general purpose robots that generally our customers build stuff on top. So this is one of the ones that we have for warehouse automation. This is a smaller version that is maybe used in like small, like electronic factories and stuff like that, where they transport components from benches, or we have a version here on the office that has UV lights and goes around the office and disinfects everything. So there's a lot of different applications that these robots have. you can find more information about them in our website. I'll send you the links. But this is how they look like, and this one has two different versions. One that's, as I said, for like office applications, and there's an industrial version, which is this one. That's a 250 kilogram payload. That's one of our most recent products. And so, yeah, the battery usage depends a lot on the application. If they're loaded with more stuff, or if they're doing frequent travels instead of just traveling from between two different locations, or stuff like that. From this project, it really depends on what you guys want to work on. But my idea would be, you have information on the speed that these robots move, and how much basically energy they use on moving from, depending on the payload and the speed that they're moving, and that would be plugged into some calculations, and you'd be able to generate some charts and some estimates on how this battery would run down. Does that seem something feasible? Let me stop sharing so I can send you some links. Is there a chat in this?
Yeah, at the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a text bubble right next to the 7 on the peoples.
Yeah, found it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, internally we use Teams. So, but in the previous company that I worked on, I did use
Google Meets. Yeah.
Google Meet.
By the way, will we be given like a Atlassian login with storyboard, all that fun stuff, or is this just going to be like between us and there's no official logins or anything like that?
This is part of. So I guess you can create an Atlassian board. I think the accounts are free up to a limited number of people. I will not give you access to our internal one.
Right.
But I'm happy to create one on a personal account to send it to you.
Okay.
Or you can do it. I think that this is part of the project too, is that you have a project plan on what you're doing.
Okay. And so let's talk more about the internals here. First of all, is this program supposed to work on all these robots or just one specific one? Because you showed us 3 models, I believe.
Ideally, we would want the 3 different versions, but I understand that might be too much. So, but the difference between them is how much the robot weighs, the battery size.
I mean, if we have a general, just like calculation, I think it shouldn't be too difficult. So I guess we have several questions that we kind of planned out for you. And so I got a few questions, I guess. First one is, how do you want us to do this? Because my initial approach, what I was thinking, I don't think my team really has like a solid plan on what's going on. But when I saw this, I was thinking about piping this through, say, Spring Boot on Java, through like, you know what Prometheus and Stats Logger is? It's essentially it's an all-in-one tool, and so you can get APIs and post APIs through REST, and then there is a public interface for any kind of gauges. So say you want an ETA gauge or a battery level gauge, that's all already inbuilt. So I'm thinking that would eliminate the GUI problem that's already there, and then essentially all we'd have to do is just code the estimator and all the gauges, and that's it. But obviously, I think our group may want to run through exactly what we want to do with that. But I guess we want to know how do we read the API logs? How are the API logs fed to us? How will the data be pulled? And maybe some platforms. I'm guessing this is Linux based, but we need to know what the platform is going to be running on, how we're going to be able to test our code, and stuff like that.
Okay, let me write down these questions because I might need to go back to some other people here. So,
Sure,
bit of a background. I did work as an engineer for some years, but on more recent terms, I've been a project manager, and here I'm a project manager. So I will need to go back to people to ask these questions.
Sure,
but that's totally fine.
Do you want me to repeat the questions? Maybe actually.
Or you can just send them to me via email or something. I think that's
okay.
probably.
Why don't we do this? We created a Google Doc for you right here. Actually,
Sounds great.
You may not have access. Does he have access, guys, to read and share? Is this a?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, yeah. So, any color scheme actually, if we use Prometheus. Otherwise,
yeah, the color scheme is totally up to you, and as well as the UI elements.
But we do need to know some of the internals and stuff like that, so then we can
of course.
idea. Yeah. So those are, I guess, our questions that we need answered. And of course, as we think of more when we're creating more programs, we'll let you know and we'll update the sheet. And so hopefully we can have someone from internals, whoever you want, to answer these questions.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And Bruno, when I was working in an internship, the most efficient way for me to get questions resolved was not to ask the product manager and then have the product manager ask someone else.
No,
it was to ask the tech lead directly.
I will get you as a senior engineer to help you. I've been trying to understand what you wanted to do in this project before I requested the right person, because could be someone from systems, could be someone from software. So I was trying to understand what you wanted first. That I think that was the reason why I haven't invited anyone else to this meeting yet. It was that, but you'll get the information that you're looking for. Don't worry about that.
Absolutely. Well, we're very excited to work with you. Thank you so much for helping us out. Anyone else have questions? I don't want to take up the whole space here.
I mean, as of now, I'll say I'm good. I just probably will be waiting to get those questions in the doc answer, and yeah.
I have one, but it's kind of later. So I was wondering that once you actually have whatever our predictors made, are we going to be given like a validation set to verify accuracy on, so that we can see how accurate our model actually is for predictions?
Yeah, we can give you a validation set.
Okay.
Boy, unit tests, super fun. All right. Anyone else have questions, or do you think we should conclude today's meeting?
So are you going to create a Jira instance for this project?
Yeah, I think I'll have to run it by my team. Our labs are generally on Thursday. Yeah. So for now, we just need to answer this question. For the Jira set, I think I need to explain to them how that works. And I know one of our teammates don't really know how to use GitHub, so I might have to teach them that as well. But once we get that set up, I think that'll take about a week. Once we get that completely set up, I'll let you know, and then we can really get started on it, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Okay. And I'll get this information to you. Language preferred, I'd say probably Python's what we use mostly internally here, but
Oh, and for your senior engineer that you're gonna assign to us, could you also on the top of the Google Doc or whatever just write his contacts, his email or his phone number or whatever, and we'll also be able to use that as reference. Oh, and one more thing, Bruno, that you should know. All of us today here are not one team. We are actually two teams, and I think we're competing-ish. So you're going to get two final products. You're going to get to decide which one you like better. I think that's how it works.
Yes.
Yeah. So
definitely.
just want to give you a little heads up on that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So if you have different questions, if you don't want to have this information in the same document, please do.
No, this information
create
should be
different
general.
documents, and,
Yeah.
and we will work with that.
Sure. Yeah. No. All the information should be general. I don't want to ask you. The reason why we grouped this meeting today as one is because I don't want to call you twice and ask you the same questions for each meeting.
Of course.
So questions like how the data is piped in and all of that, that's okay. That's general. But how the code is written, how we execute this intended problem will be separate. So you'll get to see that.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'll work on getting all this information for you, and we can continue from that. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. All right, everyone. Have a good week. I'll see you later.
Yeah, sounds good. I do just have a question. By when, like, as a general date, by when should we receive the answers to these questions?
Let me say, I'll do my best to have everything by the end of Monday. Is that a good?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. For in the future, if you want to create a meeting and share that with on the email, that's probably easier than just joining.
What do you mean on the email? Like, you want me to email you a Google Meet link or?
Yeah, a calendar invite.
Calendar invite. Yes. Okay, we can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.